Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to call the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners meeting for July 9th to order. I want to welcome everybody. I hope everybody had a happy 4th of July and 4th of July weekend. We'll begin our meeting this morning by asking Pastor Mark Chumney of Victory Christian Fellowship Church to come forward to deliver our invocation, and Commissioner Larry Harvey will lead us in our pledge to the flag. Please stand.
Let's pray. God, we thank you for this wonderful nation that we live in. Lord, we thank you for the freedoms that we have to gather together like this to discuss ideas, Lord, to come together and reach a place of agreement. God, we pray that you would bless each and every one of these servants that are sitting before me today, God, that you would lead them and guide them. Lord, I pray let your wisdom prevail. Lord, we thank you once again for this nation. We thank you for this state. And God, we thank you for this community. And Lord, we ask that your blessing would be upon us. It's in your precious and holy name that we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Chumley, and thank you, Commissioner Harvey. First, I'd like to, before we get into our agenda, would like to welcome George Young with the law firm of Holmes and Young, and he will be our legal counsel for today. The fish must be biting because Russ Castleberry is not here. So I'd also like to recognize a new reporter from the Plaquemine Daily News, Mr. Fred Brochart. If you'll please stand, sir. Welcome. Yeah. Also, I see Derek Emery over there with Clay Electric. I'm glad to have you today. So anyway, gentlemen, we'll move forward with the agenda. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the May 14th, 2019 meeting.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay, we've got a proper motion by Commissioner Goddard and a proper second by Commissioner Harvey. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll move forward to recognitions, item 3. And I'll ask Ms. Lori Parker, HR Director, to come forward to honor Mr. James Robbins.
You know he hates this part.
Need a spotlight up here.
You know, he could have skipped this part, sir, if he'd have just stayed.
That's right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is James Robbins. He works for the sanitation department.
Right.
He started with sanitation in 1988 as an equipment operator 1. Then he promoted to equipment operator 4, and then to crew leader. He promoted in 2000 to landfill solid waste supervisor, and that has been his current position for the past 19 years. And he is retiring with over 31 years of service, all with sanitation.
Yeah. Good job.
James, on behalf of the County Commission and all the staff, I'd like to give you this award for over 31 years of dedicated service to the Putnam County citizens. And I mentioned to somebody the other day, I think I might have mentioned it to Jay, but anyway, I remember when Freddie Clemens retired from the city of Crescent City. I'm going to say, Jay, you better keep his phone number, because for the next 10 years they were calling Freddie to find out where this was or how this worked. So I hope that they keep your cell phone number. And good luck in your retirement. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Want to say a few words?
No, thank you.
You want to say a few
Sure.
words about him? Sure. I know you've been working with him for a short time.
Yeah.
But,
You know, it's a wonderful opportunity to work with those who have a historical knowledge of what we've been trying to do here. And truly, James will be missed for that. It's kind of like watching your library walk out the door. And so from the bottom of my heart, and I know the team, this has been James' show for a long time. So we got to introduce some new characters, and let's see where it goes. But how thankful we are to have had him, and Putnam County has truly been better for it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
before we
yeah,
start our
yes.
pictures, I just, when I was a new commissioner, hadn't been here very long, the commission gave me the authority to go out and start working on the landfill and trying to come up with ways to improve it or whatever. First person I went to was James, and he's been invaluable in that pursuit, especially since now that Jay's here, it's even more because he has a history and can tell him what took place and don't dig right over there no matter what. Those sort of things, but I just wanted to tell him how much I appreciated him working with me throughout this process too. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, I like that because those same sentiments, when I first got here, James was the one that we contacted to talk to us about some concerns we had at the landfill and how we might make things better. And you're right, Jay, his insight and his knowledge is going to be severely missed. But James, congratulations on your next venture. You and your wife deserve this, and we hope that you stay close to Putnam County because you will always be part of the family. Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Where are you heading on to? Double up his retirement? Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, James. Okay, before we move on to our next certificate of appreciation, I'd like to recognize two of the Interlochen Town Council members, Ms. Joni Connor and Ms. Carolyn Bennett, who I think are in the back. Y'all just wave your hands. Okay, it sounds like a broken record, but as Commissioner Harvey said, this is, the fun part of our job. So I'd like to ask the Guthrie family, especially Reagan Guthrie, to come up to the podium. We're going to deliver a certificate of recognition.
I felt the same way when I first came in.
Okay, I don't have a lot of information, so I hope that her parents and even Reagan will say a few words, but it was brought to our attention, the county commissioners, a few months ago about a young lady who was doing a very unselfish act of thinking of other people and animals rather than herself. And I understand that this year will be the 4th year requesting no birthday presents, but instead she asked for pet food. Last year alone, Reagan collected over 3,000 pounds of pet food in donation to various private rescues, as well as Safe Rescue in Hollister. Reagan has also collected money and was able to donate to a private rescue and sent horse feed to Texas after Hurricane Harvey. Altogether, Reagan has collected over 6,700 pounds of pet food, and she also collects chew toys and treats. When you would think of these accomplishments, you would think of somebody much larger in stature. But I guess it just doesn't take somebody of large size, but somebody of a big heart. And that's what this young lady has. So on behalf of the County Commission, our staff, and the citizens of Putnam County, I'd like to present this certificate of recognition to Reagan Guthrie in recognition of the generous collection and donation of pet food to local animal shelters throughout the community this day, July 9th, 2019. Congratulations.
I wish y'all could see this face.
Okay, most of you know Jeff Guthrie, so with Emergency Services, and this is his wife Tammy, correct? And I'll have them say a few words and then introduce the rest of the family, okay?
Well, thank you for recognizing little Reagan. I'll tell you how it came about, because a lot of people say, oh, a 5-year-old didn't come up with that. But actually, a 5-year-old did come up with that. She was in the living room, and she was watching the ASPC commercials with all the little pets. You know how they like to make you cry?
Yeah.
And she was sitting there crying, and every day she would turn this on. She would sit there and watch it and cry, and I'm like, Reagan, what are you doing? Why are you watching this? And she'd say, I don't know. I'm like, well, do you want to do something about it? Yes, what? And, you know, her birthday came around, and we just decided that we would do dog food. So the first year went by, and I think she collected, it was 1,700 pounds the first year. So the next year when her birthday come around, I try to plan early with both the girls, because you know how kids are. They want Disney or something, and it costs a fortune. And I asked her, well, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to do what I did last year. Okay. Third year came around. She said, yeah, we're going to, I want to do that again, and we're going to do the ice bucket challenge to get more food. So they did that together. And she said, I'm going to do it every year. Well, this year it came around, she's getting a little older. I'm thinking, no, we're probably not going to do it again. We're going to take a family trip or something. And she says, I want to raise dog food. I'm going to do it forever. So that's how it all came about.
Good deal.
Anyway, so feel free to donate.
There you go.
Yeah, this is my husband Jeff, granddaughter Reagan, second granddaughter Aniston, and their mama Emily.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Congratulations. Come on, get us shake hands. You get to keep that for next year.
And challenge all the other commissioners. Good job, Molly. Sweet. Look at Matt.
Okay, our next item of business is the Port Authority. So I'll recess the regular Board of County Commission meeting and convene the Port Authority meeting. First item of business, item A, approval of minutes.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, we've got a proper motion to approve the minutes by Commissioner Harvey and a second by Commissioner Rawls. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, public comment on the Port Authority items. I'll open the public comment portion of this meeting. Any individual wishing to speak on Port Authority items? Okay, seeing none, I'll close that portion of the item, of the agenda. And general discussion of the Port Authority. Administrator Suggs, is there any update? I assume that St. John's Shipbuildings are in the building.
Yes, sir, I'm assuming they are. We've got everything taken care of, probably a month or so ago with the agreement. I think they're actually active and moving forward with their business out there. Last I heard, they're doing fine.
Okay. All right, any other items to come before the Port Authority? Okay, seeing none, I'll adjourn the Port Authority and reconvene the regular Board of County Commission meeting. Next item, Proclamation designation of July as Park and Recreation Month. And I'd like to ask Miss Angie Wisna to come forward to the podium, and I'll meet her at the podium and read the proclamation. Okay, proclamation number 2019-46, designation of July as Park and Recreation Month. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Putnam County, and whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic, environmental well-being of a community and region, and whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens, and whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of business, and crime reduction. Whereas parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and natural resources areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of air we breathe, provide vegetated buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife, and where our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community, provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and create outdoors and recreate outdoors, whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Putnam County recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore be it resolved by the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in Putnam County, done, ordered, and adopted this 9th day of July.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a proper motion to approve this proclamation by Commissioner Harvey, a second by Commissioner Rawls. All in favor?
Aye.
Indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Congratulations, Angie.
Thank you, Bill.
Angie also has a few awards that she'd like to give out at this time.
Good morning. If I could ask my staff to come forward, I'd like to recognize them, and also our volunteer corps, please. What I decided to do this year for Parks and Recreation Month was to recognize staff members and our volunteers. They are staff as well. We could not accomplish all of the things that we accomplish without their help, but I have a small token of my appreciation and of the Board of County Commissioners' appreciation, and you all are a part of that. We are certainly blessed that we can do what we do with your support and your help, and we know we couldn't do it without you. So if you'll just bear with me while I pass these out for a moment, and I wanted to read you something real quickly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Angie.
Oh, wow, pretty.
Thank you. Very nice.
Our county one.
So the lapel pins for staff, I'll recognize, put my glasses on. It says teamwork makes success. And we couldn't do what we do without everybody here. And we certainly have our days that were a little bit more challenged, but at the end of the day, we get it all done. And then our volunteer ones. Volunteers make a world of difference. And I'll also be at Interlochen later this month, and we'll present all of our musicians out there with a pin as well, because they are not official volunteers, but they volunteer their time and talent every Monday night. So just wanted to share that with them. And one final thing, if I can. Share a little quote here from Theodore Roosevelt. The establishment of the National Park Service is justified by consideration of good administration, of the value of natural beauty as a national asset, and the effectiveness of our outdoor life, recreation, and the production of good citizenship. So just wanted to share that with you all. Two final things of note. Every year, the Florida State Association gives out a number of awards. They give them to volunteers, they give them to organizations, and I would like to piggyback off of that for two of my staff, if I can. And the first one is for Innovative Programming Award. This goes to Tess Simpson, recognizes the importance of creative ideas as the cornerstone of expanding community partner participation in leisure programs. Presented to Tess Simpson for Touch a Truck. That's 14 years that this program has been going on and has been growing. So on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, Putnam County Parks and Recreation, I'd like to present this to Tess Simpson today. And my final note of business, again, piggybacking off of the Florida Recreation Park Association, the Golden Shovel Award recognizes the continuous dedication of a park employee who has demonstrated outstanding service in the field of parks and recreation, presented to Joe Groves from the Board of County Commissioners, Putnam County Parks and Recreation Department. Joe handles many things with little resources and a group that supports him to make sure that we can meet those expectations. But man's a hard worker, and I wanted to recognize him. So. That's all we have for you today. So we're happy to keep continuing and providing this service to the good folks of Putnam County. Anybody else would like to?
I think Tess wants to say something.
For Administrator Suggs, I know he's going to say a few things, but Angie, could you introduce the whole group? I want to put you on the spot.
Of course. Holton Warren, Parks Maintenance. Joe Groves, Parks Operations Supervisor. James Nelson, Brian, Tim, Terry, Kevin, Tina, who really runs the joint, Tess, and then our volunteer corps is Joni and Stormy, Jean, Warren, and Miss Carolyn.
That's it.
Oh.
Good job.
Okay, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but, you know, this is a small group to take care of all the properties that the county has and maintains as far as parks and recreation. But they take care of 230 acres of parkland, including 19 parks, 15 boat ramps, 4 community centers, and 1 aquatic facility. And so I think they do a fantastic job, so let's give them another hand.
That's right.
I know Administrator Suggs wanted to make a few comments.
You don't mind, Mr. Chairman? Come on over here, Miss Angie. Okay. This is a wonderful opportunity for Miss Angie to celebrate the accomplishments of her staff and the things that they've done for Putnam County in response, you know, to the Board of County Commissioners and our citizens. But it's also a bittersweet day. But it's my turn now to recognize Miss Angie for what she has done and let her know that even though she has turned in her letter of resignation to the Board of County Commissioners and moving on to a new opportunity. She will certainly be missed here in Putnam County. I could always count on Angie to do what was right. Could always count on Angie to make good decisions. And Lori Parker, yesterday, our HR director, asked me, well, Terry, I haven't gotten anything about Angie's resignation. I said, that's because it's still in my desk. And so it's bittersweet for me this morning because I really counted on Angie, and I just want you to know how much your team, your staff, and your administration appreciates everything that you've done for Putnam County, and I wish you nothing but Godspeed and great success in where you're going, and thank you for always being there and assisting me in the Parks and Recreation area. Putnam County was lucky to have you, and we're going to miss you.
That's right.
Yeah, I know probably each commissioner has some comments, I hope, and we'll save Commissioner Harvey for last, because by the time we get to him, he'll think of two more comments to make. But I've worked with Angie for the 2.5 years I've been a commissioner, and she's one of the most detailed individuals that I've ever met. I mean, she's prepared, she does her research, and she has done a great job for Putnam County. And we're definitely going to miss you. So, Commissioner Rawls.
Yeah, I'd just like to say to everybody up here, you guys have been talked about recently in budget talks. And I know it probably doesn't feel like it from where y'all sit sometimes, but we really are thinking about the staff and about the challenge that you face and trying to get some more funding for you. Angie, I've only been here for about 8 months, but you know, I've got nothing but kudos for you, sitting in committee meetings with you and watching you operate and working with the citizens. You know, I know it's been challenging, but you've done a terrific job.
Yeah, I wanted to thank every one of you because I know you're like all of us in Putnam County. You do with what you got, and it's just the way it is. But Angie has been great. Angie, I don't know how she is with y'all, but she's very patient with us. She gives us that look like you're stupid, but let me answer that one for you. But she has always gone the extra mile and really has, anything we've ever asked, she's been helpful with it. So thank you, and you are going to be missed.
I'd like to join the other commissioners in congratulating the employees and the volunteers, and thank you for what you do. And Angie, I already told you what I thought about it all before. I hate that you're leaving. I think you're one of the good guys around here. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Harvey.
You know, thank you all the employees and the volunteers. We wouldn't have what we have without you. Angie and I sat in our orientation together, me as a new commissioner, her as a new department head. And at first, I really did not know how to take Angie. Thought she didn't like me, frankly.
Probably doesn't.
She
now.
probably still does. But I can tell you, one thing in government that I've learned is I don't need it sugar-coated. I need the facts. And Angie's never sugar-coated it. She's always had the facts, and she's always stuck up for Putnam County. No matter what the detail was, she put our feelings above hers sometimes, and she represented us well. I called Angie last week, and when I first heard the news, and I was like, Angie, ooh. But it's an opportunity for her to be better, and that's what we always want for all of our people. So, Angie, I served with Parks and Rec for a long time, and it's been an honor to serve with you. And again, you're a straight shooter, and I hope you continue doing that, because that's what people need in this world, is people to be honest. So thank you for working with me, being patient with me through all the years, and trying to show me the other side of the coin some days. So thank you very much.
I'll make one more comment. You always have to have a little bit of humor, but as you say, you didn't know how to take Angie, and she was just straight at you, you know, and very detailed, very businesslike. And just a few months ago, I had called her about a situation with a park that we had discussed in one of the workshops. And Angie does take her job very seriously, and her heart is in Putnam County. And as the conversation went on, when she started to answer some of my questions, her voice kind of get louder and louder and louder. And I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, Angie. She goes, what, Bill? I go, I'm on your side. I said, you don't have to get loud with me. So, but anyway, we've had a great relationship. And Angie, if you'll just say a few words, you are going to be greatly missed. So,
Thank you all for your kind words. I have enjoyed every moment, every challenge, and couldn't have done it without these folks standing behind me. And I feel like I'm leaving the department better than I found it, but it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And you got a lot of dedicated folks behind me, and I know you are as well. And it's just the beginning for whatever's going to happen to the department and to this county. So I've enjoyed it, and I will miss y'all too. I'm a phone call away if you need something on something that's still pending. I'm happy to help.
Okay, so Kevin and I and Katrina kind of put something together. We just want to say something for Angie. All of us at Putnam County Parks and Recreation Department would like to recognize the amazing impact Angie Wisnett has made on the department and to our community. Angie has served the community for the last 5.5 years. Some department accomplishments under her direction include the installation of 5 new playgrounds, 3 new picnic pavilions with amenities, 2 volleyball courts, resurfacing of 4 outdoor sports courts, opening the Flora Home Trailhead, opening the Interlochen Community Center, opening the Tanglewild Nature Park and bringing it a trail and a soft launch, the redevelopment of Johnson Community Park, bringing Georgetown Park into compliance, introducing a new in-house recreation guide, and supporting the creation of several new community programs. Furthermore, Angie's contributions to our department have been equally beneficial. Angie has always provided leadership and direction that the department needed, and she did it with tact and grace. She's increased employee morale, communication, and professionalism with the department. She's encouraged continual education and program development of her staff. She's available to mentor, guide, and be a sounding board for many crazy ideas. Angie Wisnett has been an asset to our community, our department, and each of us as recreation professionals. Her smiling face and her jovial attitude will be missed by its citizens, by the citizens she interacts with, as well as her department staff.
Well said. Well said.
Hi, I'm Joni Connor, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Interlochen Community Center. My involvement with Angie in the last 3 years, I think, has been phenomenal. Without her and her staff, our community center would not be doing what it's doing today. We have a monthly jam, a weekly jam that attracts anywhere from 15 to 25 musicians and anywhere from 40 to 80 people on a weekly basis, all right? We open Tuesday through Thursday during the day from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. We have a wonderful group of volunteers. But thanks to Angie, I can't think of anything that we've asked for, that we've needed, that she hasn't found a way to get for us. And that goes a long way when you think of the county's limited budget. She'll be sorely missed by me and our group, by me personally, on a personal basis, because we've become good friends, but I think the county is going to miss her even more. Angie, I can't thank you enough. You've been a dear friend, so it's such a pleasure to work with. This has been my first time involvement on such a large level in a community, but it's been a pleasure, and it's been that way because of you. Thank you so much. I have to give you a
Want to get a picture?
Probably all need to stand up here with that many of them.
We're going to stand up here and y'all get down. Come on, Mr. You going to get down there?
Yeah, he'll have to get right in front, nobody will see him.
Stand up here then.
Yeah. Need to find you a stool where you can still put the all in all there.
I knew that was harassment.
All right,
something
everybody
like
get
that.
in. Are we in?
Left.
You go left. Good.
Thank you, Angie.
Congratulations. Good luck in your future.
Sue said that was kind of bittersweet.
I might have to get back to work.
Okay, we'll move to agenda item 6, which is public comment. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage or deliberate on items that we had no prior information on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are available at the entrance and the exit of our building. And if you deliver them to Sarah Oliver to your right over here, mine left, and she'll present those to me. So we'll start with the first public comment. Miss Diane Williams. If you
Diane,
please, yeah, you know the routine.
Yeah, I know.
Address and speak clearly, and then Miss Diane. Good to see you.
Diane Williams, 109 Westlake Drive, Hawthorne, Florida. It's Putnam County, but they say Hawthorne. I just wanted to say, I think that we need to try to come up with a way. I can come to the meetings now during the summer because school is out, but I think that we need to at least maybe once a quarter have a nighttime meeting or go to a town hall meeting once a quarter somewhere. And I would like to, can I give 2 attaboys while I'm here? I'd like to give an attaboy to Larry Harvey. Our interlocking 4th of July was great as usual this year. You know, didn't have as many people though, but it was hot and we were there. And to Tim Smith's office, I had to go in there Thursday or for Friday, come a downpour, but the girl in there, they go out of their way to get you what you need. But my thing is, I think we need to start trying to get a nighttime meeting once in a while, because I cannot come now when school starts back the 1st of August. And that's
Okay,
it.
we also, yesterday, during our budget workshop, it was brought up about town hall meetings. So I think we're in agreement that we may be able to start doing some of those. It's just not as easy as just commissioners show up and answer questions. You have to have staff, it has to be advertised, minutes have to be taken, you know,
It'll
so.
be hard to advertise now with the Palaca Daily News going to be in a mail delivery, because people don't get I don't take the papers.
Well, they can still get it on the internet, I guess, for what, $7 a month? You can
Couldn't get it this morning. I've been a year or 2 deal, so it's still out of whack.
Really?
They hadn't quite got it put together yet.
But, and town hall, and I'm gonna try to start getting as many people as I can to come to these meetings. It's, you know, they need to know what's going on.
Yeah, right.
And you know, that's a question, since we still have a couple of minutes, and we don't want to get too far in the weeds with this, because we understand there's a group that wants night meetings. Ms. Diane, is it to participate, just have the public comment? Because these are streamed live, because I watch these periodically just to critique myself and go back on
No,
some
it's
of the
to get
agenda
pe-
items.
It's to get the county involved with what's going on. You know, we've got to get the people involved, just like in every organization, you got to get them involved.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Okay,
Ms.
Commissioner
Williams.
Ross?
Ms. Williams, I do agree with you on, I think the town hall meetings are something that could be a tool for everybody to use. If we were to set schedules a year in advance, if we started right now laying out town hall meetings for next year, it really wouldn't be onerous, it wouldn't be difficult to do. So I would encourage you to keep pushing for that agenda. I agree with you, I think it's necessary, nighttime meetings, before I got elected, I agree with that. I'd much rather be able to serve a lot more of the majority of the public and give them the opportunity to be able to come in here. 9 o'clock in the morning is inconvenient for most people, especially if they have jobs or young children. So I agree.
Okay, next public comment, Mr. Charles Welborn. Mr. Charles Welborn here?
Charlie Welborn, I don't see.
I don't see him here.
Okay, next is Miss Nicole Grace.
Good morning, all. I just wanted to kind of follow up with the Parks
Nicole,
and-
if you could
Oh.
state your name and address
Nicole
for us.
Grace, 115 Red Fox Trail, Palatka, Florida, 32177.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to follow up with the Parks and Rec. I have 3 asthmatic children. In the 5 years that we've been here in the county, we've used the Putnam Aquatic Center every year, every summer. We love it, and it's made a tremendous impact on their health. When we first moved here, we left pediatric specialists, and swimming with the Putnam Sharks and at the Aquatic Center, we've moved to being on pretty heavy doses down to rescue inhalers, which is phenomenal for my kids. So I appreciate Parks and Rec too, and very specifically for health. So
Okay.
that's all I had.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much. Always good to get a positive comment, isn't it? So, okay, any other further public comment? Okay, and Mr. Charles Welborn's not in the audience. Okay, okay, we'll close this portion of the meeting, and Commissioners will move down to item 7, the consent agenda. Any items that any of the commissioners are wishing to pull? And I'll start with Commissioner Rawls.
Item F, please.
None?
F.
F, okay. Okay, Commissioner Goddard?
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Turner?
I have none.
Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
Okay, and I have none. Okay, Commissioner Rawls, item F, General Services list of items for approval for liquidation, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yesterday, we discussed on item number 1, 4210R4259 is a 2007 Sterling roll-off truck. Using that as a test subject for potentially refurbishing it, to see if we can get this pulled from the list.
Make a motion, I'll second it for you.
I'll make a motion that we pull item number 4210R4259, the 2007 Sterling roll-off truck from the list of surplus items.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion to pull that particular item from the list. We've got a proper motion by Commissioner Rawls and proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. And I just want it clear here that if we send this or get the reports that we talked about yesterday and they say it's not worth fixing it, it goes straight back on a list and go out.
Absolutely.
But if it's good, I'm good. But I mean, this is the one, Jay, do you have any questions on this? Can you come up, please, sir? This is your item, and we had talked yesterday about possibly taking this particular truck and seeing if, not this one? Okay,
Oh, it's
well,
not this one?
We had 2 Sterlings. This one, the frame's twisted on it, it's bent. So that's why it's on the surplus. The other Sterling that we have that we're using for cover right now is the one to get, that I'm gonna get a quote or a proposal put together on what it would take to rebuild it, and rather than buying a new one next year.
so this is a busted frame, or a
Yeah, it's
twisted
twisted.
frame here.
Yes, sir, it's twisted.
not
It's 6
repairable.
inches up on the
But
right
it's not
side.
the one we were talking about
No, sir.
yesterday,
No,
okay.
sir.
I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, Jay, I want to ask you a question, and I think you alluded to this before. Isn't it very expensive to repair a twisted frame, or do you have to, can they be repaired?
I don't know on the twisted frame part. I've dealt with, we've rebuilt a lot of yellow iron where I came from, like your compactors and things like that. And what you do is there's a process as you take it to the company, whether it be Caterpillar or whoever, and they give you what's called a certified rebuild, and the warranties and all will come with it. And there's a percentage. If the cost of the rebuild is a certain percentage of a new, then, you know, we've always strayed away from it. I think it's 75% or above just buy new. So that's the comparison. But it just all depends on the frame. And, you know, you have to have them ultrasounded to make sure that it can handle the integral, because if they're going to put a 3-year or 4-year warranty on something, then it's got to be able to uphold all the twists and turns that's going to happen. So it just, Commissioner Pickens, each individual piece of equipment is
Unique.
categorized and tested, and to make sure it's a true candidate for rebuild.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so your motion is removed, and the second is also pulled, so, okay, so,
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve item F.
Second.
Will that be A through
I think
G?
we can go ahead and do A all the way through.
Okay.
on
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry, I thought we already did.
No, I didn't do it.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Sorry.
I make a motion that we approve items A through H as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've got a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey to approve items as presented, and a second by Commissioner Goddard. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes. Okay, we'll move down to item 8, code enforcement. And, it would be Mr. Charlie Erkman coming forward, and John Siafi.
Mr. Chairman, if I could ask Mr. Siafi a question unrelated
Okay.
to,
All right, Commissioner Rawls.
Mr. Siafi, now that you have your citizen serve, how long before it goes into effect?
We have a meeting, IT director, myself, and Mr. Reynolds are gonna have that conversation with the companies.
Before the end of the budget year, or you think it'll be?
Keep our fingers crossed.
I have a lot of people asking when they're gonna be able to apply for permits online.
On a timeframe, but
I would
right
like,
now,
I would like that same update. I was hoping,
Yes, sir, I
I mean,
know.
I've only been harping on this for a year and a half, so hopefully before I leave next year, we'll have it in.
I will get with Mr. Stender and Mr. Reynolds, we'll have that conference call, and we'll update you.
Thank you, thank you.
That's a short.
And I'm not a contractor, I sell auto parts, but I'd like that update too.
Just update us
We get,
all.
we get a lot of questions, there's no question about that.
Well, before we move on, Mr. Chairman, I want to comment, that this was basically step 2 in the process. Step 1 was doing the research and doing the background and all that, and getting the approval from the commission to move forward with it. Now, this is the next step in the process of bringing it in, and now we'll start working on the implementation and keeping the 5 commissioners updated on it as we go.
In all seriousness, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd rather it take a little longer and get it right.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been
Yeah.
doing here, trying to pick the right company, trying to do the right thing. And now that we have, hopefully we can work hard and diligently to get it implemented. But I understand why this has slowed down. I've been watching it very closely. And so, but like I said earlier, it's very much more important to get it right than get it quick in this particular instance. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Concurrence.
Mr. Kirkman?
Commissioners, these are the fine reduction requests that citizens have asked for. The first one is for 124 Cypress Street in Crescent City, unsafe structure on permitted work. The original amount of fines and fees was $775. Staff recommends that you reduce the fines and fees of this to $488, which is the direct cost to the taxpayers of Putnam County.
This is one that was purchased on a tax deed.
I believe so, sir, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Erkman or John Siafi? Okay, what's the pleasure of this board?
Motion to approve.
And I'll second that.
Under discussion, does this one need to be opened up to the public for a fine reduction, or like, it doesn't? Okay.
Okay, so we just have a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a motion to approve the recommendation of reducing the fine from $775 to $488. We have a motion by Commissioner Rawls.
And I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Goddard. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
The second one on the agenda is for 129 Arden Avenue in Interlochen. It's Prestige Properties Investments Incorporated. The original, it was for an unsafe structure and care of premises. The original amount of fine was $15,568.50. It has since been taken care of. Staff recommends that we reduce the fine down to $1,369, which is the direct cost to the taxpayers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Rawls to approve the fine reduction from $15,568.50 to $13,069. We got a second by Commissioner Harvey, so we'll open it up for discussion.
It's not 2122, am I on the wrong case here?
It's 129.
This is case 2014-00852.
The Arden Avenue.
129 Arden Avenue.
That's
So
affirmative, sir.
The recommendation is to reduce it to 2122.
1369.
Okay, where am I seeing that at? I gotta, no, I'm.
Page 52.
126, let me back up one. There it is, got you now.
You got it.
I got it, yeah. This takes me a minute to catch up.
And this
with
is
you,
another one of the
Mark.
properties that we sold.
This is not one we sold. I believe that this was bought for taxes, and they've gone ahead and they've demolished the unsafe structure and cleaned up the property.
Great.
We need.
Yeah,
The
I'm
last
good.
one
I'm
for
good
today
with
is
it.
case number 2013-00537.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait,
126.
Charlie, we hadn't voted on it.
Oh, I'm
yet.
so sorry.
Okay, so, and we need no public comment or even ask if the landowner is here or anything. We don't need to do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a proper motion and a proper second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Okay.
Case number 2013-00537 for 126 St. John's Court in Satsuma. The new owner is Lee Ponder. This was for an unsafe structure and care of premises. The original amount of fines and fees owed was $28,625. Staff recommends that we reduce that to $2,122.00, which is the direct cost to the taxpayers of Putnam County.
Yeah, and
Okay, any questions of, okay.
has this been cleaned up?
Yes, sir.
It's been
All of the
taken
ones
down,
that we
everything's
recommend
cleaned
have
up?
been cleaned
Okay.
up completely, and the case has been closed.
Okay.
Move
Mr.
approval.
Turner?
I'm sorry, I had a question. We can go ahead and then I can ask it under discussion if you'd like, but whatever you want, sir.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a proper motion, a proper motion by Commissioner Harvey, and a proper second by Commissioner Rawls. So, discussion?
Yes, sir, under discussion. Could we expand a little bit on this? When he wrote a letter that was attached to it, that was basically said that, that they bought this property because it was a derelict property and it was next door to his place, and he didn't have any idea, and he's an old retired guy that's, on limited income, and he bought it thinking he could buy it, tear it down, bring it into compliance, and he thought, and it used to be 4 years ago, it's my understanding, after doing a little research, that when they sold a tax deed 4 years ago, it wiped out all municipal liens and encumbrances. I was told that but then 3 years ago, am I timing wrong, or is it wrong all the way around?
Well, under you've got Florida statute 197.552, any municipal lien, well, a county lien held by a county survives any issuance of a tax deed.
But that only happened a few years ago, I think. Before that, it wiped them out. I had this discussion over the weekend with an attorney. So, and
Considering who that was,
and I
go
could
ahead
have
and take his
very well
advice.
misunderstood, and I'm not saying you're not absolutely correct. I'm just saying that a few years ago, I used to deal in these and the tax deeds, now, many years ago, but when you bought a tax deed back then, it wiped out a mortgage, it wiped out municipal liens. The only thing I don't think it wiped out was an IRS lien at that time. But then I understand that it's changed since then. So even whether it has or not, I understand the guy bought the property trying to clean it up because he didn't want people living in the old broke-down mobile home with no doors on it and half the windows kicked out of it. So he bought it, cleaned it up, and had no idea, and I know it's buyer beware, and he had no idea. So in most instances, I believe that the county should try and recoup all it can. I think by reading his letter, he's got more tied up in it right now than what the property is worth, just trying to clean it up and it being next door. If that's the case, we just were selling properties, and we said we'd sell them for $1 to somebody who would clean them up and get them back on the tax rolls, because it costs more to clean them up than it did for us to keep them and not be abated. This guy bought the property, wasn't worth much, abated it, and done everything, and now he's asking for tax relief and in this particular situation, it's exactly what we were gonna do anyhow. So, while in most instances, I'm gonna let you talk, John, I know you're gonna come at me. But in most instances, I agree that we should do everything in our power to get back to taxpayer dollars. But in this particular instance, I think it mirrors the program that we were trying to do that says that we would sell a property to somebody in the county that the county owns for $1 if it needed abatement. And so just to get it back on the tax rolls, that's exactly what this person did. Bought it, abated it, got it ready, and it might be one that even we need to kick in a little bit on the fine reduction ourselves just because he did us a tremendous favor.
Yes, sir. I believe the properties that you sold still had to come into compliance, correct, within a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Yes.
Or else we would have had another code enforcement action?
Right.
Okay, so, I'm gonna let Charlie elaborate on this a little bit, but, we have provided notice for all these individuals who were coming before you today, and I don't know if any of them are here. I haven't heard any, public comment on it, so we've given them the opportunity to, try to get it reduced even more. So it's up to you, you guys, what you want to do with the lien. This is just our hard cost for the property.
Is Lee Ponder in the room? No. Commissioner, it's my understanding, of course, I would never argue with you, but it's my understanding that we have always, as far back as Lisa Suarez has been the supervisor, we have always gone through the fine reduction process through the commissioners. I don't believe that it's ever been that it's been completely wiped out when somebody bought a property.
No, that was a tax deed sale.
Okay.
The tax deed sale is what used to wipe out encumbrances other than certain encumbrances. And I understand that even today it wipes out certain encumbrances, but not others. But a few years ago, it was expanded to include, I don't know when, expanded to include municipal liens, where many years ago, it wiped out almost everything. When you had a tax deed, you had to quiet the title, but it wiped a lot of them out. This was back 25, 30 years ago when I dealt in them.
Right now, if there's a tax deed sale, whatever proceeds are left over comes to code enforcement, the surplus. And then we continue to try and collect with our lien the remaining monies that is owed to the taxpayers of this county.
I'm well aware of that.
yeah.
I mean, I really am, and I'm
But if-
not arguing the fact that it's on there and that it's valid. I checked. I mean, I went to legal representation, our legal representation, just not the one here today, but, I talked to legal representation about it, and I'm in total agreement with that the lien is valid, everything's fine. All I'm saying is, in this particular case, and if I'm the only one that feels like this, we'll move forward. But in this particular case, I think that he did exactly what we're trying to get done in our other program, which is buy a piece of property and abate the thing and get it back in code compliance, and then come in as quickly, in as timely a manner as what his income and his physical ability would let him get there. Now I understand he's finally gotten there. It took him a little while, but he finally got there, continuously working on it, and I guess that's where it came from. What the comment that I made about, in most cases, I'm 100% with you. Get all our money back that we've got in it for code enforcement or whatever the case may be. In this particular case, though, I think that he did what we're wanting the other program to do, that we were willing to put money in by selling it to him for $1 or by doing whatever to get compliance. This guy's in compliance. I'm not so sure that we shouldn't consider a further reduction to him than the 21-22. Like maybe split the cost with him on the thing, because he did exactly what we asked him to do. And so maybe do 10, 50, 11 or something. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. If I'm the only one here, I'm not gonna lose sleep over tonight if we don't. I just kinda think it's the fair thing to do when he did what we want him to do.
The Board of County Commissioners hold the lien. It is your decision. As a staff member of the county, all I can do is tell you how much the fine was.
Yes, sir.
And what it cost the taxpayers. Anything beyond that is up to the commissioners.
I get it, Charlie, and I appreciate you. Don't even think
Oh,
for a
no, not at
minute
all.
that I'm being critical of you in any
Not
way,
at all.
shape, or form.
Not at all.
I'm a fan, dude.
Thank you, sir.
Exactly. All right, Commissioner Goddard?
Yeah, no, this is exactly what we were trying to do. We worked real hard to try and get these properties back into the hands of the people, and we want to help them any way possible. I'm looking right here at this inspections and postings, which is $1,000. I'm for taking that completely off of there.
Well, point of order.
Okay, all right.
And I'll withdraw my motion, so I think we're moving in a different fashion.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so withdraw the second.
I think it was
I withdraw
Buddy.
the second. I'd like to make a comment before we end this, yeah.
Okay, are you,
Okay, I'm just saying, I suggest that's exactly what we're trying to
Will
do.
you withdraw your second?
Yes,
okay,
So,
okay. Commissioner Rawls?
I agree with you, except I think we're going on a slippery slope here, and you're opening up a can of worms where now we're going to decide who gets special consideration, who doesn't. I personally think that as this commission should take the stance that we have rules and regulations and ordinances. Otherwise, the last two that we just decided to enforce come back in here and say, why didn't you treat me with special consideration? You know, I understand that somebody might have a hardship as far as financially, but when you buy a piece of property, you're buying it as is, where is, with the encumbrances. I respectfully disagree. I think that we should set a policy and not have to have staff out there wondering whether or not we're going to be able to support their decisions every day. I think we should support the staff and their recommendations. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey?
I think Commissioner Turner had his hand up before me.
Okay.
I respectfully disagree, and the reason why is that's exactly what we're supposed to be here for, is to make those kind of decisions. Not every case is exactly the same. These three cases are completely different. One was bought on a tax deed just to have it. The second one was brought into compliance and they already owned it, and it got out of compliance while I think they were trying to sell it or something. The third one was bought on a tax deed, but was bought for the explicit reason to bring it into compliance. The first one and the third one, especially the third one, they're not the ones that got out of compliance. They bought it to bring it into compliance. It almost mirrors the program that we're trying to do on the other side by selling the properties we own that need to be abated. It almost mirrors that. So all I'm saying is, it's nothing critical about their recommendation. I respect their opinion. I respect their recommendation. I respect the fact that we should recoup our expenses on any case that they came out of compliance and brought themselves back in. But if somebody buys a piece of property, brings it into compliance, whether it's tax deed or not, brings it into compliance, I think this county should go out of their way to help them any way they could, trying to, in that situation. That, to me, is the difference between the others and this one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I love having the debates up here because I always tell people, you know, you come in with one idea in mind and then we talk about it and you find out that, hey, other commissioners have a good idea too. So I kind of agree. Commissioner Rawls, I do agree with you. They are our liens, and we've already knocked that down quite a bit. But at the same time, there are some aggravating circumstances here on this one that I kind of support. I do feel like that he came with an $850 water bill. So in my opinion, if you took the $850 water bill off, you're down around $1,272. We can easily justify the fact that, you know, this guy wanted to do that, and we are going to set a precedent. And I hope the right precedence by asking people, hey, if you got a piece of property beside you, come on in, let's make a deal. We want to make that deal. And as Commissioner Goddard, everyone says up here, I want to get them back out there. I want them getting cleaned up. I'm tired of driving by my old place wondering when it's going to get torn down. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the process. But if my neighbor would have bought it, they probably wouldn't have moved out the other day. And that's my point. So I'm in agreement that it's our lien and we can do what we want. And thank God we have that ability to do so. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we reduce that to $1,272.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Harvey to reduce the fine, an additional reduction to $1,272.
$1,272.
Okay, we got a proper second by Commissioner Turner. I do have a question. Charlie and John, I see that he wants to put a small shed on this property. Is he going to be able to do that? Is he aware?
No, he's not going to be able to do that without a main use structure, and we will be addressing.
a main
You
use
need to have a main use structure
Okay.
in order to put any structure on a property. But I would also recommend humbly that you put a time limit to the amount of time that he can pay this reduced fine and not just leave it open-ended, that if it's paid within 3 months.
What would you recommend, 60 days?
Whatever you feel is good, 60 days.
What did you say before,
I
3
said,
months?
I said 90 days.
90 days?
If they pay within 90 days, then we would
Amend
honor
your
this.
motion
I'll
to
amend my
90
motion.
days, and I'll amend my second, Mr. Chairman.
To 90 days.
Are we setting
Okay.
policy?
No, this is done all the time.
No, I'm
been
saying,
done
can
for
we
years.
just go and set policy for them?
That would probably come at a workshop.
Yeah, that'd have to come from a workshop. Okay, so we got amended motion to, it has to come, and he has to pay the fine within 90 days? Okay, we got an amended second.
I just
so-
want to make one more comment before we vote.
Okay.
I'm going to vote along with this. I agree with it, but I still think we're going down a slippery slope, and I think that we're opening Pandora's box here because we're deciding who is worthy. If I have a constituent that says I can't afford to mow my grass this month, I can't afford a new lawnmower, or whatever the reason is, I can't maintain my property because it's going to, I'm financially destitute, and we start fining them, then their argument in front of this commission is going to be, but in case number blah, 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 you sided with a gentleman that cleaned up his neighborhood, bought a piece of property, which is to his advantage, and as the property values go up, that's an investment. You gave him a break, but you're not going to consider me. I'll put that out there for.
This is not groundbreaking stuff. This has been done for as long as I've been involved in the planning commission, codes board,
Yep.
for the last 30-plus years. I'm just telling you, this is not groundbreaking stuff we're doing here. That's why it comes to the commission, where the commission can make the call one by one depending on the circumstances of that case. So we're not starting a new precedence or running down a slippery slope. We're just not doing it. I know for a fact that they've reduced fines many, many, many times in the past. This is not the first
for this
time,
commission.
huh?
First time for this commission since I've been on it, so I just.
I understand.
Right.
but That doesn't mean it hadn't been done before, because it's the first time for you. So I just think that this is not setting a precedence, and Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to vote.
Okay, we got a couple other comments. Commissioner Goddard?
I did. You said he can't put a shed on there, but if he combines his properties together.
Then he could.
Then he can.
What I intend to do is ask him to get together with our staff in the zoning department and give him those options.
Okay, but then if he combines that, he can put a shed on there, but a home cannot be built on there, correct?
A home could be built on there also.
Even if it's combined?
That's something we need the zoning department to nail that down, but that's going to be my recommendation to him before he improves the property in any way, to talk to the zoning department to find out what is
Okay, yeah,
permissible.
that's what he needs to do, because
Yes, sir.
if I'm not mistaken, you cannot have two homes on one piece of property.
You're limited in size and square
Yes.
footage, and you have a one-bedroom, one-bathroom
Guest condo
in-law
on the property.
apartment or
Yeah.
guest apartment.
Just not a separate.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, are straight.
Okay.
Yes, the man that answers that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that he didn't, pay his fine and go put him a shed up, and then we see him in a few more months because there's another codes
No,
case on him
no.
because he didn't
Believe
know.
me, we want less code cases, not more, sir.
Exactly, okay.
Well, I want to say something too. In a way, I think we do need to set a precedence that we are out here 100% wanting people to take these properties and really clean them up, do something with them. So I want them to think we are here to work with them. If there's any way to bring this, an empty lot looks so much better than a rotten house. It just does. That's all I have.
All right, Mr. Smith, you had a comment?
Yes, could I make my comments after you take your vote?
Okay. All right, before we vote, Charlie, I want to say thank you for your staff work, and John, and we support you 100% out there doing that. But every once in a while, the board feels that we need to make just a slight adjustment, so anyway.
We're behind you 100%, sir.
Okay, so we've got a proper motion and a proper second on the floor. Any more further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, passes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Charlie and John.
Chairman, while Charlie's here, man,
Okay.
make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, fellow commissioners, and our wonderful staff over here to my left, Mr. Suggs, I asked Charlie today if there was some type of a list that he could provide to us commissioners of cases in your districts. For example, if I want to, because you get calls like I do, what about 121, 4th Street? Well, I don't know, let me go check on that. I asked Charlie, he's going to try to put a list together that says, here's what you got, and then we can have it, so when somebody calls us, you can flip to it and go, yeah, it's in Code's case, or how's that case, and then we can hone down further, hey, how's that one going in the process? But Charlie, I appreciate your willingness to work on that. I think that's going to help us out a lot.
Good. It's
Because
my
I
pleasure.
think
We
that
serve
answers-
at your
Yeah,
convenience, so no problem.
thank you.
And
Charlie, if you don't mind, whenever you come, if you have the time to produce that list, send mine electronically.
Mine too.
I don't want it laying around. I'd rather be able to get to it off of.
I was going to experiment with Commissioner Harvey's area, and then once I got something that was acceptable to him, I was going to do the same for all your areas, if that's what you would
That's
like.
fine. Good luck.
Oh, yeah, I really did. That's who you need he's the guinea pig, so you just use him first, see how that works out. And when you get it perfected, you can bring it to the rest of us.
Yes,
But
sir.
Charlie, I want to thank you for everything you do. Charlie had moved out of codes up into inspections, and with the limited staff, Charlie's doing both roles. So thank you so much, Charlie.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move down. Okay.
You want to call him Mr. Smith?
Yeah, we'll move down to item 9, Clerk of the Court, Honorable Tim Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no items for action today, but I would like to make a comment on the prior discussion because there was a comment about what the county's intent is, and where the comment was, we'll sell this property for $1, if we can abate whatever the issue is. So I think we're blending two different lists here, because we've got the list of lands, which would be something that you could do that with, but you can't do that on the tax deed side. So until a tax deed is not picked up or no one bids it, then it goes on the list of land. So we just got to make sure that when we talk about these, that we keep those in kind of the right area, because someone will come to us and say, well, I want to buy that for $1. And so as you go to workshop at some point and talk about these, make sure that we're talking about the list that you can do something about as it currently stands. And that list is something that this county needs to begin to work on to try to bring those numbers down, because there are properties that are available on that.
We have started that program, and somebody can pay $1 for it, but the only way they can would be to bid against everybody else, and that's the only bid that came in. Because, and now that's after it's cheated to us, not the tax deed side. They're after the county owns them. And that's the list that I'm talking about, are county-owned lands that are surplus that we don't want, and we want to get them back on the tax roll. And a lot of them need abating, and the abatement costs more than what the property is worth once it's abated. Those are the ones that if somebody'd give us $1, but it's next door to their house, it may be worth a little more to them. We've had one trial procedure already that we went through. I think 4 out of 5 or something like that did good, and one of them didn't. I think that General Services is working seriously on trying to get some more of them on the list to where we can move them forward. So I truly appreciate you bringing forth, to make sure that the public didn't get confused here over the two sides of it. I appreciate that.
It's, if you don't work in it, it is kind of complicated.
Yeah, I understand.
And it took me a long time to really kind of understand all the nuances to it. So I just want to make sure that the public knows that there's really two different lists here, and sometimes they get blended into the same discussion, as they should, but there are different rules for either side of that.
Well, if any of these lands, there's a long list of these, and they're being identified as we proceed. But there's a long list of them, and I think that if somebody lives next door to one of them and they have a desire, if they would contact Mrs. Young with the General Services Department, it may be at a point in time to where they could move that one up on the list to be bid on. You can't just buy it from the county. It has to be through the procurement process. And so, but maybe they could move that up if we found one that someone was interested in, perhaps.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I did want to thank Ms. Williams for her comments about our customer service center. And just to remind folks that we combined about a year and a half ago all of our various counters in the courthouse into one customer service center. And then this summer, we've instituted a flex work schedule. So we have some folks that work 4 9.5-hour days. So they come in early, stay late on those days, so that they can get the non-counter work done out of the way, which then frees them up to be just at the counter during the normal workday, 8:30 to 5. And it really has proven to be very beneficial to that, because when folks come into that counter, sometimes these requests, they're complicated, they're hard to understand, but if our folks are also, you know, distracted by, you know, having stacks of paper on their desk or answering phones and not being able to really focus on those folks, then their level of service is less. And so we've attempted to do everything we can to maximize the ability of our counter folks to be able to stay at the counter and work, and it really is paying off. We get a lot of comments about people coming in able to resolve their issue. Sometimes they can't, and they call me, and then we find another way. So it's really proven to be very effective. And one of the better parts of that, to access us, you don't have to go through security of the courthouse. And so that saves, you know, another 10 or 15 minutes standing in line and getting wanted and all that. So thank you, Ms. Williams, and it gives me an opportunity to thank my supervisors and staff over there. They're not mine, but they, you know, they're really great folks, and they're dedicated to their job, and they work hard to do that. So I thank you for mentioning that and for you allowing me to recognize them today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, we'll move down to item 10, appointments. Any appointments by the commissioners today? I'll start with Commissioner Larry Harvey.
I do. There is a typo on one. At the Fair Authority, it said must reside in district. We just didn't get time to clean that up. So, but I'll be appointing T.K. Schroeder to that Fair Authority. And if you need anyone to serve on the Value Adjustment Board, I'd be glad to do that this coming year. So, but that's my appointment for today.
TK, who, sir?
T.K. Schroeder?
Schroeder? Yeah, okay.
I'll get you the spelling.
I got it.
Okay, Commissioner Turner.
I have none today, Mr. Chairman, but I would like to mention that the next at-large or the next position we have on the Fair Authority, I think we need to seriously consider Gwen Moat. She runs a wholesale.
I have an idea for that. I'll talk to you at workshop today.
Okay. We need to do something because, like I said, she runs the wholesale, all the pig sales, the steer sales, everything over there. She actually runs the thing, so she's a integral part of that board. So, thank you, Mr. Harvey. I don't have any more, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Commissioner Goddard.
I have none, and I keep trying to reach out for this animal services where they have to be a veterinarian or whatever. So I just wanted to, if anyone knows someone that's in the, you know, the farmer with large animals or a veterinarian that would be interested in being on animal services, we would love to have somebody there.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls.
I have none at this time.
Okay. All right, and I have none. Okay, we'll move down to closing comments. Mr. Young, County Attorney, you have any?
No, I wouldn't want to contradict anything Mr. Castleberry may have already put out there, so I'll pass.
That ain't the one I was talking to. I was talking to the other partner in the firm.
Okay. County Administrator, Mr. Terry Suggs.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, good morning. No, I just, again, a long day yesterday, but a good day, I think, very fruitful. And I'm glad that a couple of you here recognize the work of Charlie Erkman. I don't know if Charlie's still here. But you know, he did. He started in codes, and when the opportunity presented itself, he got a certification, and he moved over to the building department. And he's actually one of our better ambassadors in the building department for Putnam County. So, and he's doing double duty right now, so I appreciate your recognition on that. Another thing is I would like for us to, at workshop today, add an agenda item. I want to talk about special event permits and how those things are taking place, and when we move forward with special events on property that's owned by the county. I think we need to at least have some exploratory dialogue on that today, if at all possible. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Administrator Suggs. Commissioner Rawls?
Mr. Suggs just stole my thunder because I was actually going to talk about.
What? Wait a minute now. Wow. Here we go.
Consensus. So we'll discuss that at the workshop. Had a great day yesterday with the budget. Looking forward to Monday and hopefully getting things wrapped up. But I think the public really needs to know that we spent the better part of 8 hours in here yesterday working towards getting our employees a very meaningful pay raise that has not happened for more than 10 years. And hopefully the public will support us in our decision on that. But at the end of the day, we really do need to figure out a way to raise revenues, and we'll be looking for support from the public for that as well.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Goddard?
Yeah, if you weren't here yesterday, that was very entertaining. We had 8 hours of hard budgets. I mean, it's tough, taking with what limited resources we do have and trying to do everything we can for the county and provide those raises. I do want to bring up, though, the parade. I was at the interlocking parade. Of course, Ambassador Harvey is always out there running all over the place. As a matter of fact, I hardly even saw him there. But, you know, we represented ourselves there. We had our, Jeff had his car there. I had my car there. It was, I don't know about other small towns, but I do know Interlochen goes out of their way to have a large parade out there. And I heard that there was a small crowd. It didn't look that way because I saw people all over the place. It was just great, and it runs the whole day. It was my wife's birthday, so I spent my time with my wife. But we did get to see the Palaca fireworks, and I saw a whole lot of listings on that was fantastic also. But as I always say, we live in a wonderful, wonderful county. There's just so many things going on and good people here. And if you really want to go out and have some fun, go drive down St. John's Avenue. And you won't be bounced around. That road is finally nice. People love it.
Portion of.
Yeah, not the whole thing. The county's portion's nice. With the fires going on in the forest, and my wife's been having some problems. So we haven't been out in the forest like I like to go out into, but we took a trip down to the Etnaya. And again, this is just a beautiful, quiet. It's got a nice little bridge. It goes over the creek. It's just and picnic tables, water pumps are there. So I mean, it's just go out and see what's out there. It's beautiful. Anyway, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Goddard. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank my fellow board members today and County Administrator and our Public Works Department. Sasso Road, you approved that today. 6 years we've been talking about Sasso Road.
That's why we did it at 6 years. We're tired of it. Fix it for 7.
So you see the mark out here, guys. If you need, just keep the squeaky wheel. No, I'm teasing. But we finally found a funding source that didn't come out of general fund or transportation. And I want to really thank you because the road is falling apart and people are going to get hurt. But it's been a long time coming. We finally got that. And Mr. Suggs, I want to thank you for really grabbing the bull by the horns on that one. Yesterday's budget meeting was probably the most outstanding meeting I think I've had since I've been here. It was a dialogue that we had. It was tough decisions that need to be made. Our chairman did a great job in facilitating a bunch of type A personalities in this room yesterday. I will say that, who want to speak and who want to be heard and who have something to say that's beneficial to the conversation. And Chairman Pickens, I think you did an excellent job. Staff, if you noticed, Matt and Ms. Papel were spot on. They didn't get rattled. They didn't get upset with the questions that were asked. They stayed true to the conversation. So I don't know if I could have done it like they did it, but they did a great job in doing that. Commissioner Goddard, you mentioned yesterday going out in the community with town hall meetings to bring the budget out to the people. I applaud you for that. And the board really grabbed that vision and said, we're going to go for that, and look forward to that happening. And I also want to let people know, what you don't know is, and maybe you do, but at my house, for example, in my area, we've had 9 inches of rain since July 4th. 9 inches. Yeah, post it on Facebook that your road's a little washed out, but let me tell you this, give us a chance to fix it first before you start condemning us. Because 9 inches of rain in areas, it's going to wash out dirt roads. Kevin Dersher was a county commissioner. He was famous for there is no good dirt road. Okay, there's just some that are better than others. but give us an opportunity before you beat us up in the public to at least fix the road. In some cases, you gotta let it stop raining. Sunday night, 3 inches of rain, 2.75 happened in 1 hour at my house. What do you think that was gonna do to a dirt road? It's gone, folks. Press, you know what you gotta do. You gotta go downhill, grab all the material and bring it back uphill. That's what's gonna happen. So please give us that opportunity. Be patient with us. Contact us. We're here to work for you. We make that very clear. But 9 inches of rain since July 4th. Thank God we're getting rain. We're not on fire. But give us an opportunity to fix them first. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Commissioner Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo all the comments the other county commissioners have made and follow them all like I have to, or like I did this time, that it's hard to come up with new ones, so I'm gonna just go ahead and reiterate the one that I've talked about almost every time they hand me a microphone. Would y'all, everybody, just please call somebody back? That's all I'm asking. Just call them back. If you don't have time, get somebody to call them back. It upsets me tremendously when somebody, and it's not somebody just, they didn't call and you check, and they really hadn't called, but they said they called and didn't get a return call. I understand those also, but some of them have called and they didn't get a return call. Please, it's not a big thing to any of us. It's a big thing to somebody that something traumatic is happening to from the government. Just call them back. It will help, believe me. Call them back and tell them, hell no, I can't do that. It's on private property. It's against code. I don't care what you tell them, but accurate, tell them something accurate, of course, but call them back and tell them something. At least they know where they're standing and they're not just out concerned about everything. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna let it lie, at least for a month.
Tell them Mr. Turner said no.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Turner. Just a couple of comments to reiterate what my fellow commissioners and we're talking about is we did spend about 8 hours in this room yesterday in the presentation. We already had one-on-ones with Matt and Stacy and staff and Administrator Suggs. And we all got together yesterday to have that presentation. There was a lot of dialogue. Like I say, we spent about 8 hours. But I definitely want to recognize staff, all the department heads, staff for their input, their budgets, constitutional officers for their budgets, Administrator Suggs, Matt, and Stacy, especially for the hours that y'all put in before our meetings, and I can't even begin to imagine how many hours, but thank you so much. Like I said yesterday, the first budget that I was involved in was a budget of survival, and we got through that. Last year was a little easier. This one also has challenges, but it's a little better than it was the year before. We just have a lot of needs, and we'll have challenges next year. So I'm looking forward to Monday the 15th, where we'll hopefully be able to finalize this thing and move it forward. So I appreciate all your efforts. I'd also like to recognize Stacy Papel and especially Matt Reynolds and Administrator Suggs for allowing this to happen. Commissioner Rawls a few months ago brought it to the attention. He had attended the Better Place Plan Oversight Committee meeting, and some of the members were really kind of wondering of their value, what their purpose was, why they were even there. And they approved the Better Place Plan funds and the projects that we put out, to approve. And most of the stuff was after we had already approved them. So Commissioner Rawls suggested that we have a meeting with them. So we had a joint meeting with the Better Place Plan Advisory Committee with the commissions and staff, and decided to come up with an orientation meeting. And Matt and Stacy put that together. And Matt Reynolds, I want to give you kudos because I spoke with 3 of the members on that committee, and they feel much better about why they're on there, what their purpose is, and what their worth is, and they're really looking forward to being on that committee for the next few years. So I want to give you all kudos, and let's just give Matt a hand. Okay, that's all I have. Any other comments from the commissioners? We have a 2 o'clock workshop. If there's no further business to come before this commission, we stand adjourned.